The twin moons of Luraxis floated peacefully in the sky. Wind moved gently through the silver forests. Children laughed in the open crystal fields. The Luraxians were a calm and peaceful race. They had no large armies, no weapons of mass destruction. Their leaders believed in peace, trade, and art. They thought peace would protect them. They were wrong. One dark day, the sky broke open. Without warning, dozens of black ships tore through the upper atmosphere. Their hulls were jagged, covered in bone and steel. They blocked the sunlight as they descended like shadows from a nightmare. The Turek horde had arrived. No words, no warning, no reason. They came to take. The first blast hit the capital Zitharan core. Within seconds, towers of crystal glass melted into fire. People screamed as shockwaves tore through streets. Energy cannons lit up the night skies. Luraxian defenses were weak, outdated plasma shields, a handful of atmospheric interceptors, and no experience in war. The Turek knew this. That's why they came. In just 4 days, 3 cities were gone. In 7 days, the planetary defense grid collapsed. By day 10, only ruins remained in most of the northern continent. Families ran. Children hid. Entire generations vanished under falling debris. In a deep cave in the southern range, a young technician named Arenvel worked desperately beside an ancient transmitter. It was old. It hadn't been used in over 100 years, but it was their last hope. "Signal array is ready," Aren whispered, wiping blood from a cracked scale on his cheek. The leader of the survivors, Matriarch Thyron, nodded. "Double quotes, do it," she said. Her voice was quiet, heavy with sorrow. "Where should I send it?" "Everywhere but the council." She cut him off. "They ignored our first call on the second. Maybe someone else is listening." Aren took a breath. His fingers hovered over the activation panel. Then he pressed it. The signal lit the cave with blue light as the message was sent. "This is the Luraxis colony. We are under attack. Non-combatants targeted, cities destroyed. We beg you, help us." The signal repeated again and again, pushed into deep space on every open channel, across old emergency frequencies, forgotten human bands. Even beyond council territory, most believed the signal would be lost. Space is vast, cold, silent. Who would answer a message from a broken planet? No one, the council said. They heard the transmission but deleted it. "Too far," one counselor said. "Too risky," another added. "There are no resources worth saving," the final voice concluded. And so they let the people of Lorix die. But the signal didn't die. It traveled farther, deeper, until it reached Sector Z73, an empty, uncharted space zone marked as restricted on all maps. There was nothing there, just dust, cold gas, silent moons. Or so they believed. Far beneath the surface of Mars' second moon, a facility lay hidden in black rock. No windows, no doors, no lights. Until now, the red signal pierced its way into the core of the station. Deep underground systems that had been silent for 300 years stirred to life. A thick steel chamber opened. Inside it, something ancient waited. A machine, not just an eye but a command intelligence unit with one task. Reaper 1 Earth Defense Protocol Core Tier 0 Threat Monitor. The red light blinked. Incoming transmission detected. Class: Civilian Emergency Origin. Luraxis Prime Threat Type Planetary. Extinction Verdict. Council Neglect Confirmed. The facility rumbled. Reaper-1 spoke. "Protocol match found. Death Worlder Response Directive Echelon Omega." A loud clank echoed through the dark base. Power flowed into dormant launch bays. Black armor plating rose from storage. Drone brains synced with ancient neural patterns. In less than 60 seconds, the entire base was awake, far above Mars, in Earth's outer orbit. A satellite hidden behind a camouflage shield turned toward deep space. Its central array glowed red. "Message received. Response team preparing." On the far side of Earth's moon, 3 warships powered up. They were black, sleek, and silent. No flags, no names, only one symbol burned into the hull. A single line through a red circle. The ancient mark of Earth's Deathworlders. Deathworlders. Inside one of the ships, a woman opened her eyes. She had no rank, no badge. But in her mind, she held more combat data than any army. Her name was Commander Kale, and she had been sleeping for a long time. Reaper's voice spoke inside her helmet. "Commander, Luraxis is burning. They asked for help. The council ignored them. What is your response?" Kale stood slowly, her armor adjusting to her form like a second skin. Her voice was calm. "Send the fleet. No enemy ship survives." Final scene on Luraxis. Aren sat in the cave beside the transmitter. He stared at the flickering screen, hopeless. "It's been 3 days," he said. "They're not coming." But then suddenly the screen lit up. A new signal broke through the static. Short, cold, human, SOS received. Subject class: Death Worlder Response Protocol active. Stand by. Ern's heart stopped. Thyron leaned forward. Her voice trembled. Who answered us?" A second message came through. Earth's final line. End of Part 1. The monsters of Earth had heard the call, and now they were coming. The 3 warships left lunar orbit in complete silence. No engine noise, no heat trail, no registration beacon. They were invisible to standard sensors ghosts in space. Each ship had one purpose: respond, neutralize, erase threats inside the lead ship. The AI core Reaper 1 guided their trajectory. A red light pulsed gently in the center of the command bridge. A single voice broke the silence. "This is Commander Kale. Confirm fleet alignment. Begin assault protocol." The AI responded calmly. "Confirmed. Launch vectors set for Luraxis Prime. Weapons hot. Warframe units awakening." Beneath the floors of the ships, deep in armored holds, dozens of Death Worlder soldiers opened their eyes. Not born, not raised, engineered. They were grown from Earth's harshest genetics, designed to survive fire, ice, vacuum, radiation, and war. They had no names, no families, only missions. And this one was clear: respond to the cry for help. Erase the invaders. Leave nothing behind. Back on Luraxis, the survivors still waited in the dark. Matriarch Thyron watched the skies through a broken ceiling. She hadn't slept in 3 nights. She knew the council wouldn't come, but that message SOS received: Earth, stand by. It played in her mind over and over. Young Aaron sat beside the transmitter. "Do you really believe they'll help us?" he asked. Thyron looked at him, her face tired but steady. "No," she said. "I believe they already are." Far from Luraxis, on the edge of the system, 3 red dots appeared on the tactical map of the Taric flagship. Inside the bridge, Overlord Vector, leader of the Taric Horde fleet, studied the alert. He growled, "Unknown ships, origin point, Sol system, ignore them." His war advisor tilted his head. "So, that system is marked as dead. Earth has been silent for centuries." Vector laughed. "Then these are just scavengers. Or ghosts. Either way, we will burn them too." But when the unknown ships moved, everything changed. In less than 30 seconds, one of the Taric scout vessels vanished. No explosion, no distress call, just gone. Then, another ship lost power completely, drifting helplessly before being sliced in half by an invisible beam. Panic erupted. On the Tarac bridge, shields down on deck 5. "I can't lock onto their position. There's nothing there." "What are we fighting?" Vector roared. "Deploy the full fleet. Prepare all ships. These ghosts want war. Give it to them." But the war had already begun. And Earth's monsters weren't playing fair. Inside the lead Earth warship, Commander Kale stood in front of a large tactical display. Targets lit up in red. Each one a Taric warship. Her eyes were calm, no emotion, only duty. "Deploy Dread Talons," she ordered. At once, small black pods launched from the hull. They raced through space undetectable, silent, cloaked. Each pod contained a single Death Worlder soldier. What followed was not a battle, it was a slaughter on one Taric cruiser. Alarms blared as the lights went out. The crew ran through corridors, trying to reboot systems. Then came the sound: metal scraping on metal. Something moved in the dark. A hulking figure stepped from the shadows. 7 feet tall, jet black armor, red visor glowing like a demon's eye. A Taric soldier screamed. Too late. The Death Worlder moved. One strike, one body down, 2 more followed. By the time the power came back online, the entire crew was dead, and the Death Worlder was gone. Across the Taric fleet, chaos spread. Earth's soldiers didn't talk. They didn't hesitate. They appeared, killed, and disappeared again. No patterns, no mercy. Within 1 hour, 11 enemy ships were disabled or destroyed. Back on Luraxis, the skies turned red again. But this time, it wasn't fire, it was light from above. Everyone looked up. 3 Earth warships entered low orbit, slow, silent, massive. The ground shook as black drop pods rained down into the forests and ruined cities. Thyron grabbed Aaron's hand. "They came," she whispered. "The Death Worlders came." One pod landed near a shattered transport hub. Inside, a single Death Worlder emerged. He scanned the ruins, located Taric soldiers trying to regroup, and moved. They never saw him. By the time he walked away, the only sounds were the wind and falling ash. In the distance, 2 more pods landed. One Earth soldier activated a beacon near the old Crystal Library ruins. It sent a message through all open frequencies: "Taric forces will be neutralized. Civilians, stay down. You're under Earth's protection now." The survivors wept. They had never seen anything like it. In a world where peace had failed them, Earth's monsters brought justice. On the edge of Luraxis space, the remaining ships tried to retreat. Overlord Vector stood on his crumbling bridge, shaking with rage. "Who are they?" The sky above Tragan 6 was a sick green color. The once beautiful colony world, settled by the ancient Urali, had turned to rot. Ash storms rolled across cracked plains. Rivers glowed from chemical waste. Towers lay broken, half buried under black soil. It used to be a peaceful place. Then they came. No one knew what to call them. They weren't Taric. They weren't council forces. These were something older, something forgotten. They called themselves the Gralx. Tall, silent, covered in armor like insect shells. They didn't speak. They didn't take prisoners. They just harvested. The Urali had screamed into the void, desperate for help. But Tragan 6 was far beyond the protected zones. The Council declared it non-essential centuries ago, so no one came. Not the Council, not trade fleets, not peacekeepers. Only one thing heard them inside the underground core of Reaper 2. The ancient AI calculated mission parameters, Urali colony in critical failure, Grauk's presence confirmed, no external response detected, initiating planetfall protocol, all across Earth's buried bunkers. Death Worlder sleeper units stirred. Not just soldiers this time, warforms, massive armored creatures, part machine, part human, created for worlds where no living thing should survive. They had not walked in thousands of years, but they remembered war. Above Titan's orbit, a new ship uncloaked, designation WRAITH-1, longer than RAVEN-7, thicker armor, no visible engines. It moved like it bent the laws of physics around it. On its bridge stood Commander Kale once again. She hadn't rested since Luraxis. Now she faced a new war, and this one felt older. Deploy the hammer, she ordered the crew, silent and precise. Obeyed. A black cube dropped from the belly of WRAITH-1, vanishing into subspace. Destination TREGAN-6. Payload for Warform's 40 Death Worlder infantry, 1 Titan-class enforcer. The war had returned, and Earth was bringing the monsters on Tragun 6. The Urali huddled beneath a broken sky dome. Their remaining city, Kelrus Prime, was barely standing. Leader Voral Sen paced the command center, watching old monitors crackle with static. "There's no help coming," one technician said. "Our last beacon is failing." "Then let it scream until the end," Voral whispered. "Even if we die, the stars will know we begged." But just as he spoke, one of the monitors lit up. Not with static. But with a signalless red slash through the circle. Then a robotic voice, "Planetfall confirmed. Evacuate surface. Do not interfere." High above the clouds, black pods began to fall. They didn't burn like normal entry craft. They dropped like bullets, fast, precise. The Grauks turned toward the sky, but it was too late. The first pod hit the ground and burst open. Inside stood a Titan-class enforcer, 10 feet tall, shoulders like tanks, gauntlets of black alloy. 2 glowing red eyes stared out of its helmet. The Grauks charged, didn't move, not until the first enemy was 2 meters away. Then it raised one arm and punched through its chest. More pods landed. Death soldiers poured out, firing clean shots. No wasted movement, no missed targets. They didn't shout, they didn't cheer, they just advanced. One Grauks tried to run. A warform dropped from above, crushing it without slowing down. Its armor shimmered like liquid steel. Its limbs moved like muscle but hit like a meteor. The Urali watched from behind shattered windows. Vor gasped. What are those?" a young soldier whispered. "They're not soldiers, they're the punishment." Back in council space, new reports flowed in. First Luraxis, now TREGAN-6. Someone was waking. Earth's war fleet started, and worse, they were choosing silence over diplomacy. Counselor Velen Trask met with 3 core commanders in a black chamber. "We should have destroyed their sleepers when we had the chance." One hissed. "They were myths back then." Another said. Velen stared at a new report. 17 Grauk ships destroyed in 5 hours. Entire field cleared. Earth casualties 0. He looked up slowly. "They're not myths anymore." Back on Tragan 6, the final wave began. Earth's Titan-class enforcer, unit, Thanico 1, stood before the last Grauk's hive tower. Behind him, fire, broken shells, metal melting. In front, silence, then movement. Dozens of Grauks charged at once, climbing over each other, screeching in madness. Thanik raised both arms, his chest opened. Inside was Earth's last secret, a miniature neutron war core. He whispered a final command. "Judgment." The energy pulse that followed didn't explode, it erased. A perfect sphere of light swept outward, turning the Grauks in the tower into dust. Not even bones remained. When the light faded, Thanik fell to one knee. His armor cracked, his systems failing. But he had finished his task. From the sky, Kale's voice reached him. "Stand down, soldier. You've earned rest." Thanik's final words were calm. Tragan secured. Grauks purged. Earth remembers. And then, silence final. Scene. Voral Sen stood at the edge of the ruined city. Death Worlder drones now rebuilt the shield grid. Earth's soldiers guarded every tunnel. He looked to the sky where a single warship still hovered like a god. "I don't know who they are," he said, "but I know this." He turned to his people. "If your world screams, Earth will hear it, and something terrible will come to answer." Final line. End of Part 5. Planetfall was complete. The monsters of Earth had walked once more, and the stars would never forget their steps in the cold silence of deep space. Something stirred on a long-dead moon in the Veltrax system. A signal pulsed once every 6 minutes. It was weak, distorted, but it carried something ancient. Something forgotten. Inside it, hidden within the static, was a name. Earth. The Council had long abandoned Veltrax. They believed nothing valuable remained. But Earth's listening systems were never shut down. They didn't rely on the Council's networks. They had their own buried, invisible, always awake, so when the signal reached Reaper 3, the AI instantly responded. Unidentified signal confirmed. Keyphrase match. Earth Fleet, Vanguard. Location, Veltrax, Moon, Delta 6. Status, redacted. Wake protocol, active. Across the solar system, underground machines began to move. Inside WRAITH-1, Commander Kale received the alert. The screen in front of her flickered red and white. Ghost beacon detected. Possible survivor. Possible trap. Kale narrowed her eyes. Only 3 people in Earth's command even knew the Vanguard existed and 2 were dead. That meant someone, or something had survived. She tapped her come. Prepare a ghost team or going in quiet. 30 hours later, the small black scout ship Obsidian 3 slipped into orbit around Veltrax moon Delta-6. The moon was cracked and dark, no power grids, no life signs, no atmosphere, but the signal was real and getting stronger. Inside the ship, for Deathworlders checked their weapons. Their leader, Ramos, was silent. His armor bore the mark of Earth's original Mars Divisioner, faded red stripe through black steel. Any orders? Asked the youngest soldier. Ramos nodded once. We find the signal, we bring it home. If it's a trap, we bury it. The surface of the moon was quiet. Too quiet. The team moved through old ruins, abandoned stations, half-buried mining rigs, broken vehicles. Everything was covered in dust, but the signal kept pulsing down, into the tunnels below. As they descended, things changed. They found scratches on the walls, not from tools, from claws. Something had been here, something big. But there were no bodies, no bones, only marks of violence and silence. 3 kilometers below the surface, they found it, a sealed black door still powered on it. One word burned faintly in red: Vanguard. The team stopped. Ramos. He stepped forward, ran a scanner. Still pressurized, locked from the inside. He touched his cum. Kale, we found it. Vanguard bunker. Sealed. Kale's voice came back calm. Open it. The door hissed. Steam vented out as it slowly slid. Open. Inside. Darkness. Thick. Heavy like the air itself didn't want them there. They stepped in. For Deathworlders armed with rail rifles and reflex injectors, but nothing moved, until the lights flickered on. It wasn't empty. Rows and rows of stasis pods lined the chamber. Each one held a human figure still alive, suspended in time. Above them, old screens crackled to life. A face appeared, wrinkled, pale, half machine. The voice was slow, glitchy. This is Commander Arlen Voss, Earth Vanguard Protocol. You are 700 years late. Ramos took a step forward. You survived. The face blinked. Some of us, most didn't. Arlen Voss had been part of Earth's first expansion wave, long before the Deathworld Protocol was activated. His team had been sent to Veltrax as scouts, but the Council betrayed them, ordered them to stand down. When the alien species on Veltrax turned hostile, no help came. So they sealed themselves inside and waited. Voss's voice crackled again. They're still out there. The creatures from the dark zones. They don't talk. They just feed. Ramos frowned. We killed the Graugs. Voss shook his head. Not them, worse, the ones who made the ground. Silence filled the bunker. Then the lights dimmed and a new signal hit the ship. Unknown, alien, aggressive, on the moon's surface. The scout ship's outer sensors picked up movement, shadows in the craters, dozens of them, done hundreds, not ships. Creatures. Something had woken. And it had smelled Earth. Inside the bunker, alarms blared. They're here, Voss said. They never stopped watching. This was never a safe place. Ramos turned to his team. Lock down Voss. Grab any data you can, then we burn our way out. Above, Kale watched the new threat appear on tactical screens. The creatures moved fast too. Fast. Organic bodies with synthetic armor. They weren't alive, and they weren't dead. They were harvesters made to strip, consume and repeat. Kale turned to Reaper 1. Deploy orbital rod. No warnings. Total wipe. From space, the weapon dropped. It struck like. For ages, the galaxy had believed that the ancient wars were over. But as Earth's messages spread and old enemies stirred, a long-forgotten battle began again. Above the battered surface of Tragan 6, the aftermath of Earth's wrath still hung, in the red skies. But deep in the void, far from the troubled colony, a new enemy awakened. Commander Kale stood in the dim light of the war room aboard WRAITH-1. Her face was set in a steely gaze as she watched the latest scan. Reaper 1's soft hum filled the silence with data updates. The recent events at Veltrax moon Delta-6 and Tragan 6 had proven one thing: Earth's Deathworld fleet did not merely defend. It punished without mercy. Now Kale's worry shifted to the unknown. Commander, the AI intoned. New sensor data from deep space in Quadrant Zetani. Unidentified activity approaching. Anomalous energy readings detected. Kale tapped at the display, and the screen filled with flickering pattern shapes that moved in an erratic dance. They were not like typical enemy ships. Their outlines shimmered in and out of focus, as if they were half-formed. A low alarm sounded in the background. Bring it up in full, Kale ordered, her voice steady despite the rising tension. The image came into clear view. enormous structures slowly rising from dark, frozen space. They looked like ancient war machines, hulking and covered with ice and dust. Their surfaces bore scars of time. They were clearly not made by modern technology. They belonged to an era long erased from memory. Deep within WRAITH-1's command bay, Kale recalled the message from Commander Voss, whispered as he was recovering. The things that erased the first Earth fleet, the ones the Council never talks about, they're coming back. Now it seemed those words were no empty legend. Launch reconnaissance probes, Kale ordered briskly. I want detailed, if scans of those objects, all frequencies. Within minutes, small, silent probes detached from the main vessel. Their cameras and sensors recorded every detail as they neared the ancient machines. On the holographic display, the probes transmitted rapid images, vast angular constructs with red-lit cores. Some resembled gigantic warships, others looked like mobile fortresses. A pattern emerged. They formed a loose formation as they moved toward known Council space. It appeared they were heading toward disputed worlds that had once cried out for help but were ignored. Back on Tragon 6, survivors in the ruined city of Kelros Prime watched the skies. They had seen Earth's brutal intervention and felt a new hope when the Death World has appeared. But now, as the ancient enemy slowly advanced into view, fear replaced hope. Few could remember the old legends, but even so, a chill ran through every survivor who whispered, "The old war has returned." In a makeshift command center built from scavenged materials, Matriarch Thyron and local rebel leader Arenvel gathered a small group of survivors. They peered at the incoming images on a battered screen. Oren's eyes widened as he saw the new fleet. "They're not human," he said, voice trembling. "They are older, more terrible. They remind me of the stories my grandfather told me about the First War." Thyron nodded slowly. "I remember those days. The Council never spoke of them. They were a secret terror. And now, if they have awakened, we must be ready." Far from Tragon 6, in the heart of Council space, panic rippled through the halls of power. At a high-security meeting of the Galactic Council, representatives from dozens of species clashed in heated debate. Blame was cast, and ancient grudges resurfaced. Many councillors argued that the Council's failure to help Luraxus and Trachans was responsible for the awakening of these long-dormant machines. Others insisted that the new threat was not of the Council's making and must be fought before it erased all hope. Councillor Velen Trask, who had long warned against ignoring Earth's silent pleas, slammed his datapad on the table. "You dismissed the warnings. Now the galaxy must suffer the consequences." His voice rang with a mixture of anger and despair. But even as they argued, the Council could only watch helplessly as the new enemy fleet advanced. On board WRAITH-1, Kale continued to monitor the ancient ships. "Reaper, classify these vessels," she commanded. The AI's response came after a brief pause. "Classification: pre-collapse Earth war machines. Activation likely triggered by gravitational disturbances and residual distress signals. Estimated age, over 5 centuries. Kale's face remained expressionless, yet her eyes burned with determination. "We cannot allow this enemy to pass unchecked. We have to intercept them before they reach any colony." Advisory: estimated reaction time from enemy fleet, less than 3 hours, Reaper reported. Kale's mind raced through every plan. The Death Worlder fleet had proven to be swift, precise, and unforgiving. Now confronted with an enemy that had been asleep for centuries, Earth's monsters would have to act as if the ancient wars were reborn. In that moment, she made her decision. "Prepare for direct engagement," Kale ordered. "All units, full alert. Set course for intercept near the border of Council space in Quadrant Zetanine." The orders rippled through the Death Worlder ships like an electric current. Silent capsules and warpods began to launch, aligning into a battle formation. Each vessel glowed with a red intensity that illuminated the dark hulls, a sign of the unyielding power hidden within. In the void between stars, the two fleets moved, like adversaries in a deadly dance. The ancient war machines advanced slowly, methodically, as if awakened from a deep sleep and guided by long-forgotten memories of war. In their formation, they exuded a quiet, menacing aura of fatal inevitability. The probe images displayed on WRAITH-1's main screen showed that these ancient vessels were closing in on a cluster of vulnerable colony worlds. Reports came in from scattered outposts that these worlds had long suffered neglect, left to decay as the ruling powers focused on profit and power. "Do you see that?" Kale asked one of her navigators. "They're heading for the Kallax belt. That's where countless planets have cried out for help, and the Council did nothing." The navigator's hands shook as she adjusted the course. "Yes, Commander. It's as if they want to send a message, an example." Kale's heart tightened at the thought. An example of what? That ignoring the desperate calls of the weak comes with a terrible price. In the silence of space, the two fleets, Earth's swift, silent responders and the ancient reawakened war machines, neared each other. The tension was palpable, as if the very cosmos was holding its breath. Then, a sudden burst of energy, HFY stashed across the void. One of Earth's warships, a sleek, black vessel from the Reaper series, fired a focused kinetic beam. The beam struck an ancient war machine, and the target shattered into cosmic dust. The explosion sent shockwaves that rippled silently through the empty space. For a moment, the enemy fleet wavered, but then, the ancient vessels began to counterattack. Strange pulsating beams of blue and green energy shot out from them, forcing Earth's ships to execute evasive maneuvers. The ensuing battle was swift and brutal. Earth's Deathworld fleet was designed for precision each shot. Each maneuver was calculated to inflict maximum damage with minimal collateral. In contrast, the ancient war machines fought with a methodical, relentless determination, their battle tactics reminiscent of a long-forgotten era. Kale coordinated her units with calm authority. Focus on one target at a time. Disable, don't destroy. We need information on their systems. Her voice was steady amid the turmoil of battle. Across the battlefield, one Earth warship managed to get close enough to an ancient vessel to scan it. The images that came through were shocking. Etched on its armored surface were symbols and inscriptions in an old Earth tongue, records of battles that humanity had once fought and in part erased from memory. A wave of understanding washed over Kale. They remember, she murmured. They remember our history, our mistakes. That realization renewed her determination. Prepare the next phase, she ordered. Broadcast our mission. Let every soul in the galaxy know why we fight. The battle raged for what felt like hours, though it was measured in minutes. Earth's fleet methodically neutralized the advancing ancient war machines one by one. However, not all of the enemy were destroyed. Many of them retreated back into the dark, silent depths from which they had emerged. In the midst of the chaos, one Earth warship, Raven 7, intercepted a distress call from one of the beleaguered colony worlds in the Calax Belt. The message was urgent and desperate, echoing the voices of millions who had cried out for help over centuries. Dispatch immediately, Kale commanded. Our duty is not just to fight but to protect those who have been forgotten. Her orders set off a chain reaction among her fleet. In formation, Earth's vessels turned from offensive to defensive. They shifted their focus to interdicting any enemy force that dared approach a colony, providing sanctuary for those who had been left to suffer. On a holographic screen in the command center, Kale saw live feeds of refugees moving through reinforced corridors, aided by Earth's drones. Smiles and tears mixed on their faces as they realized that help had finally arrived. The echo of battle slowly faded, replaced by the hum of warships as they consolidated their positions. In the vast emptiness of space, silence returned, not the oppressive silence of fear, but the calm after a righteous storm. As the last of the ancient war machines retreated beyond sensor range, Kale's voice broke over the comm channel, clear and resolute. To every planet that has... The galaxy did not know war like this. Not the Council, not the colonies, not the old empires built on trade and treaties. They had forgotten how humans fought, but now they were remembering because Earth's ships were moving again, and they were nothing like the rest. In the silent blackness beyond Lurax's space, 3 Titan-class stealth vessels hovered, still barely visible even to advanced scanners. To most, they looked like shadows. To others, they didn't exist at all. But the Council intelligence array picked up faint disturbances in deep space, brief gravitational warps, unexplained signal echoes. Curious, they activated long-range scans. What they saw chilled them. A fleet that had no registration, no heat, no radio chatter, no life signs, only one repeating code. Signature embedded in raw data. Reaper class. Origin Earth. Status combatant. In the command tower of the Council's core station. Hi. Consul Velen Trask watched the readings with wide eyes. How many ships did you say? He asked. The technician's voice trembled. 3, maybe more. The sensors keep glitching, sir. We can't track them. Velen stepped forward. These signatures are pre-collapse Earth tech. We thought all Reaper ships were decommissioned. The room went silent. Then he asked the question no one wanted to say out loud. If Earth is back, who called them? Back near Luraxis, the cleanup had begun. Tarek bodies were being burned. Their wrecked ships were being disassembled by automated drones from the Earth fleet. The Death Worlder soldiers, those that hadn't already vanished, stood watch over the surviving Luraxians. They said nothing. They didn't smile. They didn't sleep. They only guarded. Commander Kale stood aboard the lead ship, Rava VEN-7. Her armor was still dark from the last drop. Her fingers touched the display screen. Mission Phase 1 complete. Reaper 1 said Luraxis secure. Civilian threat level, neutral. Kale didn't reply. She watched the list of dead Tarek ships scroll slowly. Each name struck through. In red, Cruiser Hell's Fang destroyed. Battleship Scourge of Flame incinerated. Carrier Dark Moor sliced in 2. 44 confirmed kills. 0 Earth casualties. Kale whispered, that's not war. That's cleanup. On the surface of Luraxis, Arenvel and Matriarch Thyrin met one of the Deathworlders face to face. The figure stood almost 8 feet tall. Black armor, a red visor, heavy boots, not a sound from his body. Thyrin stepped forward. Thank you, she said softly. The soldier tilted his head. No thanks required, he replied in a voice that didn't seem fully human. We are not here to be praised. We are here to finish what the weak won't. She blinked, and when that is done, we return to sleep. Until the next scream. Elsewhere, Earth's warships detected something troubling. New movement on the far side of the system. More Taric ships, reinforcements, not many, 6 at most, but larger than the first wave, heavier weapons, anti-armor torpedoes, orbital nukes. Last attempt by the Horde to turn the tide. Reaper-1 calculated probability of civilian destruction within 3.2 hours. 97% fleet response authorized. Ghost formation engage. Kale didn't blink. She simply gave the order. Fade and erase. The Earth warships vanished. No light. No trails. Only empty space remained. The Council, still watching from far away, panicked. Their deep space telescopes lost all signal lock. Their ships just disappeared. One Council tech said, "No, they're still there." Velen Trask said coldly, "They're hunting." The 6 incoming Taric ships entered Lurex's orbit without resistance. Their commanders felt confident. Earth had its surprise. "We're ready now," they said. "We have shields, countermeasures. They won't sneak up again." They didn't understand. The Death Worlders didn't sneak. They struck first. All 6 ships lost external sensors. Darkness filled their screens. Then came silence. No internal signals. No scans. Nothing. Then, in each bridge simultaneously, a single word flashed in red on every screen. You ignored their cry. A second later, all 6 ships exploded. Not from outside, but from within. Back aboard Raven-7, Kale confirmed mission success. Targets neutralized. Civilian zone remains unharmed. Reaper spoke again. Phase 2 complete. Fleet status. Ghost protocol sustained. Kale removed her helmet. Her face was pale, tired, still calm. "How many more calls are out there?" she asked. The AI paused. Over 314 unresolved distress signals across known space. Most ignored, many deleted by the Council. Kale clenched her jaw, sent a message Galactic. The Earth's transmission was short, but it played across every known language, across every channel. "We are deaf. If your world cries and no one answers, we will. If your people are hunted, we will come. If the Council turns its back, Earth will not. We are ghosts, and we remember every scream." In Council space, fear spread faster than light. Velen Trask called an emergency meeting. "We must speak with Earth," he said. "They won't answer," replied another counselor. "They don't speak, they punish." "Then what do we do?" Velen stared at the message playing on the wall. Then, slowly, he said, "We prepare. Because next time the scream might come from us." The final scene. A small, damaged alien drone floats in deep space. Far from Luraxis, its antenna blinks weakly. Its fuel is gone, but the distress signal plays on repeat. A soft voice, female, cracking with fear. "Please, if anyone hears this, we are dying. They're coming. They're already inside." Then static, but somewhere, deep beneath Titan's surface. Another red light activates. New signal received. Location, Trigansix, activating Sleeper Fleet. Earth listens. The Taric Horde was proud. For hundreds of cycles their fleets had burned worlds, crushed resistance, and enslaved whole populations. Fear was their fuel. Strength was their language, but fear only worked until someone stronger showed up. Now, for the first time, the Taric were afraid. Not of numbers, not of technology, but of something they didn't understand. A threat that didn't speak, didn't negotiate, and never missed. On the remains of the Taric forward base near Luraxis, 6 commanders stood in a dim war chamber. The walls were scorched from emergency landings. Broken screens flickered. Only one command still glowed on the central display. "Fleet lost. Response, unknown force, Earth origin. Status, total destruction." General Vokra, leader of the ground forces, slammed his fist on the table. This is not possible. Earth is a myth. Their systems were dead. No records, no sightings for centuries. Another commander hissed. "Myth or not, they killed an entire battle group in minutes." A third one whispered, "We never even saw them fire." Just outside the base, a black drone hovered. Its surface shimmered to match the rock around it. Silent, watching. Then it sent a signal. Inside the Earth ship, Raven-7 Commander Kale received the transmission. Target confirmed. Remaining enemy leadership present at coordinates. Civilians within blast range. 0 response authorized. Kale stared at the screen for 3 seconds, then gave a single order. "Erase them." High above the planet, the Earth warship's main weapon arm rotated into position. It was not a cannon, not a missile. It was something older, simpler, and far more terrifying. Kinetic strike rod, a dense tungsten pillar fired from orbit at hypersonic speed. No warning. No explosion. Dust impact. The Taric base never saw it coming. One moment, the commanders argued. The next, the sky ripped open. Then silence. No sound. No fireball. Just a single crushing boom felt miles away. When the dust cleared, there was a crater half a kilometer wide. Nothing remained inside it. Not even bones. On the outskirts, survivors watched the smoke rise. The Luraxians stood behind Earth soldiers who hadn't moved. The Death Worlders didn't cheer, didn't speak. They simply turned toward the next objective. Arnvel stared at the distant destruction. He had seen war before, but this was something else. They didn't negotiate, he whispered. They didn't try to talk. Matriarch Thyron stood beside him, arms crossed. "No," she said. They came to stop the bleeding, not to discuss who made the wound. Elsewhere on the planet, Laraxian scouts found something strange. Tarak prisoners, 10 of them, unarmed, injured, hiding in the ruins of a fallen cruiser. They expected death when they were found, but the Earth soldiers didn't kill them. They were dragged back to a steel platform set up near the main drop zone. A single hologram activated, showing Kale's face. Her voice was cold, clear. You invaded a peaceful world. You slaughtered civilians. You ignored their cries. Now you will deliver a message. The prisoners looked confused. One growled, "What message?" Kale's eyes glowed red in the hologram. "Tell the galaxy, Earth hears the screams, and Earth remembers." Then the prisoners were released. They didn't argue, they ran. 3 days later, one of them arrived at a council listening post, trembling and broken. His first words were whispered into the unit. "They're not people. They're monsters. And they don't stop." Back in council space, panic spread. New emergency meetings were held. Systems that had once mocked Earth's silence now demanded answers. Who activated Earth's war protocols? Who gave them permission? And most of all, how many ships like Raven 7 existed? The answers were always the same. No records, no data. Only rumors, only fear. Inside Raven's, Kale watched as the last Tarak signal in orbit vanished. One escape pod tried to flee. The ship didn't even fire at it. It simply disabled its thrusters mid-flight using a focused EMP pulse, then pulled it into orbit for interrogation. Reaper 1's voice echoed in the quiet bridge. Tarak presence purged. Luraxis secured. Galactic reaction rising. Kale turned to the screen. "Let them react," she said. "Let them remember what they buried." In the capital ruins of Zitharan Core,